When it comes to PC audio, a lot of people these days are relying on these. Well, not these. These are mine. You can't have these. Gaming headsets may have come a long way in the past few years, and these Arctis Pro Wireless are some of my favorite on the market. I do use these occasionally, but to be honest with you, when it comes to a game, I would much rather be immersed and surrounded by sound without having to worry about putting something on my head where my ears could get sweaty, or the weight could cause me a problem, or they could shift or fall off, or, maybe I just don't want to wear headphones sometimes. And for that, you need a good set of speakers. A few years ago, I reviewed the SoundblasterX Katana. It was a soundbar designed specifically for PCs and PC gaming, and I gave it a very positive review. Well, today we have the V2 version of the SoundblasterX Katana, and it is better in almost every way. Looking to grab a Windows 10 license at a crazy discount that you could upgrade to Windows 11? Head over to VIP SCD Key at the links below and use promo code BPS25 at checkout to score a sweet deal on Windows 10, Windows 11, and Microsoft Office. Once you've completed your purchase, just head over to your user center, hit the green button to view your code, copy and paste it into your Windows activation settings, and away you go. Check out VIP SCD Key at the links in the video description. If you guys are new here, thank you so much for coming and checking out this week's video. This is the BPS Customs channel. My name is Brian. Make sure you guys get subscribed and follow me on Twitter for more just like this. Now, originally when Creative reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to take a look at the V2 version of their Katana, I actually said no. It wasn't because I didn't want it or I didn't think that it would be good, but because I still had the original Sound Blaster Katana installed on my desk underneath my monitor, and it worked absolutely great. I didn't have any problems with it. I didn't really have a use case for the V2. Well, now I do. I recently built myself a pretty awesome racing simulator, and I needed some way to get that fully immersed audio experience, and the Sound Blaster Katana V2 was just the ticket. So let's talk quickly about the design of this unit, especially in comparison to the original. The V2 soundbar itself is almost the same dimensions as the original. It's 600 millimeters long, 95 millimeters wide, and 62 millimeters high. That's in comparison to 600 by 79 by 60 for the original. The subwoofer of the new one is a little bit bigger. However, this does translate to a much deeper, much more punchy bass experience that really fills the room with sound. All of the connections from the PC to the soundbar are made through the bar itself, and then one single wire goes out to the subwoofer. If we spin this thing around and take a look at the back and examine the connectivity, you'll see that there's inputs for HDMI ARC, optical, auxiliary, and USB-C. Right now, the way I have it set up on my racing sim is using that USB-C input, and I've experienced no audio degradation, and the sound quality so far has been absolutely awesome. When you're talking traditional sound reproduction from a soundbar versus a dedicated surround sound system like you might find in a media room or somebody's high-end living room setup that uses individual, separately placed speakers. So you have a couple in front of you, you maybe have also a center channel and a few behind you, as well as a subwoofer on the side. Soundbars tend to struggle with this just because, by definition, all of the speakers are in one place. What Creative and Sound Blaster have tried to do in order to differentiate themselves from a lot of other soundbars on the market is not only have two speakers in this center channel, there's actually four. There are two that fire up and two that fire frontwards. The upwards facing speakers are meant to bounce sound off of the ceiling and off of the walls behind you and create that virtual surround experience. From my testing on my racing sim, this definitely works. The way I have my sim set up is that I have the soundbar placed above my screen so that the front firing speakers are actually coming directly at me, and the top firing speakers fire up over my head and then bounce off the wall behind me, creating that virtual 360-degree sound immersion. Additionally, this generation of Katana is more powerful than last generation. This one puts out 126 watts RMS versus only 75 from the first generation, and this is definitely noticeable. When I crank up F122, my wife often yells at me because of how loud things are down here in the office. It also comes with a multi-function remote if that's what you're into, and I'll be honest, that really isn't my jam. Most of my sound equipment is within arm's reach. Even on the simulator, it's just right there in front of me. If I need to change something, I can hit one of the buttons on the top. And the top actually does provide you with a good amount of functionality, not just volume up and down, but different sound profiles and different lighting profiles. So the SoundblasterX Katana V2 has a really cool diffused RGB strip at the bottom that you can cycle through a couple of different color patterns on, and it really throws some nice ambient light down. If you don't like RGB, as is the argument for a lot of people, you can just turn it off. I think it looks pretty cool and I leave it on. Now, as far as the sound quality itself, it's often really difficult for reviewers to communicate to an audience how something is going to sound, because I could record it with a microphone and play it back for you, and I'll do that here in a second, but you're not going to get the experience that I'm getting sitting in front of this thing blasting sound at my face. You're going to get a much more toned down, much more muted reproduction. So here is what I was able to record running some benchmarking on F122, and this is with the volume at about 75%. Now, if you do want to go louder, you can. I've had this thing cranked up to 100 and there's no distortion, no dropouts, no crackling, no nothing. It actually is very crisp, very loud, and very precise all the way up to the top of its volume range. Most of the time, I think you're probably not going to be listening to it at 100% volume. Even at this volume that I just showed you guys, 75%, it is quite loud. And I don't think that listening to it at 100% would really be that good for your ears, but you can if you want to, and it still does sound exactly the same as it does at low volume, just louder. Now let's talk about value. Is the Katana V2 worth its MSRP of $330 US? That's a tough question. For that amount of money, you can not only get yourself a decent standalone speaker set, maybe a 2.1 setup for your PC for maybe $100 or so, and then buy a very high-end wireless gaming headset. So you could almost have the best of both worlds for what the Katana is costing you. However, the audio experience that you're going to get from a $100 2.1 setup, I'll be honest with you, is nowhere near what you're going to get from the Katana. The highs and mids are super crisp, the low is full and punchy, and you really get an experience when listening to music or video games or movies from the Katana that you're not getting from any cheaper sound setup. It is truly an excellent audio experience. And for the people who want that, who are targeting that kind of immersion, I think you're going to have to spend a little bit extra money. $330 is a lot, but the way that I'm using it, especially on my simulator, means that I don't need a headset at all. So it's not like I have to incur the cost of the speaker setup and also a headset. This is my all-in-one. Additionally, because it is a soundbar, it's not going to take up additional room on your desk. It slots in neatly underneath your monitor in most cases, maybe not in my simulator, but you understand what I'm trying to say. So you also have the added benefit of having additional desk space for other items, or if you're in a space-constrained environment. Gaming headsets have their place, and I certainly understand their appeal, especially for people who don't have a dedicated microphone like I'm talking into right now, and need that connectivity to play online games, talk to their friends, Skype call, whatever they're gonna do. However, if you're really looking for a premium experience without being encumbered by having to wear headphones, The Katana V2 is really at the top of the charts for me. I've tried a bunch of different speaker setups on my editing system, including Razer's Namo Chroma, the original Sound Blaster, and others, and the V2 is just far and away the best that I have tried. If you're really looking to have that immersive experience with a smaller footprint on your desk, and also some really nice punchy bass and clear mids and highs, the Katana V2 is probably what you should be looking at. So thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and took something away from it. Maybe you're considering buying a Sound Blaster Katana V2, and if you are, the link is down there below. As always, thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.